Hello my YouTube friends. Today I want to talk about the very first guitar I bought. Now I've been playing for around about 29-30 years now, and back then when I first started I was heavily into a band from Manchester called the Smiths. So I have a bit of a lisp, so it's a bit tricky for me to say that one. The Smiths. You know, heaven knows I'm miserable now. Take a razor blade and cut your wrist, you know, all that kind of stuff, you know. But I was heavily into the Smiths. And so when you start out playing, you're going to be heavily influenced by whatever you're listening to and the kind of guitar you might get. Well, I actually took it upon myself to ignore that a little bit. And with a little bit of influence from my dad, he's like, hey son, why don't you get yourself a Fender Squier Stratocaster? I didn't know nothing about this, but it was kind of like a very light turquoise blue with a full maple neck. But it was a gorgeous guitar and all that, don't get me wrong. It played really nice. It sounded quite good, I think. But it had a very, very high gloss finish neck on it. And those of you out there that get a very high gloss and the kind of cheaper guitars, you know, I think it was about £250-300 at the time. Something like that. So those cheaper guitars, when they've got a very high gloss neck and you sweat and the gripping from your hands and stuff, it just grips to the neck and you can't really play it, really. I mean, if I knew what I knew now, back then, I would have just got some wire wool and just took it on the back of the neck. And don't be afraid to do this, my friends. There's no harm in that. If you've got a really high lacquered neck and it's causing you problems on your guitar, just get some wire wool. It's not that bad, actually. It sounds like, oh God, I can't wire wool the back of my neck. It's not that bad. You just very lightly scrub over it and keep scrubbing over it and checking it, and it will take away some of the finish, but all it does is kind of smooth it over, really. It's not so much of a bad thing. Well, I don't think it is anyway. But I got myself a Fender Squier Stratocaster, and it was a really nice guitar at the time. So you guys out there, hook me up in the comments section below. I'd love to hear your stories on what your first guitar was. Was it an acoustic guitar? Was it an electric guitar? Was it a semi-acoustic? Was it a bass? Ooh, bass. Ooh, sacrilege. Sorry, I don't mean that. I'm just being silly. Just trying to make you laugh in my silly sense of humour. But hook me up down in the comments below. I'd love to hear your stories on what guitar you bought and why. I'd love to hear the story behind it. Me, I was just trying to fit in because I was kind of bullied back then. And this guy at my work, he bought this really cheapo guitar. And I bought this guitar thinking, oh, I'm going to fit in, you know. Well, hey, yeah, that worked. Not. And I carried on with it and he quit after about a week. So, there you go. That's another story. So with that being said, do practice too hard. You know, it's going to make you better. And with that being said, my friends, bye.